You ever ask yourself, how do I stop criticism in my marriage? Whether it's you or it's your partner who's the critical one, it is creating hurt, pain, sadness, defensiveness, and is corrosive to your relationship. But luckily, it doesn't have to be. Based off of research from John Gottman over the last 30 years, there is a way to recognize criticism and stop it. And in this video, I am going to show you how. What's up, guys? I'm Tyler Rich. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I run a group practice called Richer Life Counseling, specializing in working with couples. I developed this show called the Richer Marriage Show that's all about how to have a richer, more fulfilled marriage and relationship in your life. This is a series about how to have better communication. And if you'd like to see the other episodes in the series, go and click the description down below, or I'll link it somewhere in the cards up here. So my last video, and the first in this series, I talked about the difference between content and emotion. And when we're caught up in our content, we're unable to connect emotionally or share our emotions. And if we dissect the content, what it shows is there are 4 types of pieces of content that really create toxicity where we're unable to build any type of emotional safety. The first of that is criticism. Criticism is the first of what Dr. John Gottman calls the 4 horsemen of the relationship apocalypse. When these 4 things are present, your relationship is headed towards ending, divorce, and is incredibly toxic. So what we have to do is understand when criticism comes up, how to recognize it, and what to do to find the antidote to criticism. Before I really break down what criticism is, I'd love to hear in the comments below about if you or your partner are critical, and how do you recognize what criticism is? Is it a tone? Is it something your partner says? Is it something you say? I'd love for you to leave the comment down below about how criticism shows up in your relationship. So criticism involves that it's a more harsh complaint. A complaint is actually fairly healthy in a relationship. A complaint is a very neutral response about a specific behavior. A complaint is, the dishes weren't done tonight. That's a complaint. The dishes weren't done tonight. That's a fact. The dishes weren't done. Criticism is, God, you're so lazy. How come you didn't finish the dishes? An attack. So one of the ways we can identify criticism is when we are personally attacking the character of our partner. When we personally attack the character of our partner, that surrounds a specific behavior, it's critical. Specific attacks might be, God, you're so stupid, or lazy, or you're good for nothing, or even cursing and using abrasive language to describe. Using critical language to describe your partner's characteristic around a behavior is critical. Describing the behavior is a complaint. 2 very different things. So the next way you can identify if it's criticism is if you're placing blame. Usually it's statements like, you always do things like this, you never do things like this, I can't handle that. Like, you're blaming your partner for something. When we're blaming our partner, we're being critical of who they are, not what they did. Right? If I go, hey, you didn't do the dishes, complaint. God, you always do this. You never follow through on the things that I ask. It's because we're feeling something emotionally and we're taking it out. We're placing blame on our partner. And it's incredibly toxic. So another way you can identify criticism is usually involves negative comments that you wish were true about your partner. You might say something like, you knew how important this was to me. You should have done it. We're wishing something was true. We're criticizing our partner because we want it to be different. We're almost trying to paint a different picture by attacking them. Now, a few myths around criticism is sometimes it feels like it can be really helpful. We always hear the term constructive criticism, but criticism is never helpful. Complaining or coaching or saying, hey, this behavior, this thing that you did doesn't work is healthy and encouraging. But being critical means I'm attacking, I'm challenging the person's characteristics. I'm coming after you. So here's the story from my life on how I was critical. When I was in graduate school, I was working 40 hours a week. I was seeing 20 to 25 clients a week. I was going to classes, and I was trying to balance like a social life and a home life. And I'd leave the house 6 a.m. and not get home till 7, 8, maybe 9 p.m. some nights. And I found I was becoming more and more critical in why aren't the dishes done? Why isn't the floor swept? Why didn't you vacuum? Why didn't you do this? And originally it started with their legitimate complaints. The dishes weren't done. The chore I asked you to do, you didn't do. That's a complaint. It's a legitimate complaint. And I would come home and I would be so tired and overwhelmed that I would then go into attacking and say, God, you're so lazy. You never follow through on anything I do. Like, God, how hard is it for you to do this thing, right? Wish fulfillment. This is not hard to do. I'm wishing he would have done it, so I'm being critical of him. Those are all ways that I was critical. And that will lead to how I stop that is through the antidotes to criticism. But before I get into the antidotes of criticism, I would love that if you are enjoying this, if you're finding value in learning what criticism is and learning how to stop it, go on and hit the like and the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the future videos on this topic of having better communication. If you find yourself being critical in situations, the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what am I feeling? What's going on inside of me? Why am I being critical? So if I go to my dishes example, I was tired. I wanted to come home and relax. I didn't want to have to do a chore. I was feeling overwhelmed, and I didn't want to have to do chores. And when I got home, I didn't want one more thing on my plate. I was feeling a little lonely. I was doing so much and gone so much. I just wanted to come home and spend some quality time together. But then I would feel angry, and that anger and that annoyance would come out in being critical. God, you can't even do the dishes. Right? Attacking, critical. And that criticism caused disconnection. But when I stopped, and the only reason I ever found out how to stop being critical is I was mad on the drive home thinking the chore wasn't done. Not even noticing it was done or wasn't done. I was already becoming critical in my head because I was already feeling all these deeper things. So the first antidote to learning how to not be critical is to ask yourself, what are you feeling? Then once you identify what you're feeling, figure out what you need, which is what I just explained, right? I'm feeling overwhelmed. I just want to not do anything. If you're critical, you have to know what you're feeling and figure out what you need and then find a way to lovingly ask. And the way you lovingly ask is say, how can we do this together, right? I lovingly ask, hey, when you do these dishes, when you clean and do have the chores done when I get home, that means we get to spend an hour together versus having to clean up the house. Like, we're in it together. So that's the third piece. How can you be in it together? The next antidote is to have, if you have a complaint, complain. But make sure the complaint's only about a specific behavior. Not that you're lazy or you always do this, but when you do this, I don't like it. Hey, you didn't put the laundry away. Could you please do that for me? Complaint. Not, God, you never put the laundry away. Can't you just put it away already? If you're so those are the things that you can do if you're being critical. Figure out what you're feeling. Figure out what the need is behind your feeling. Try to share that feeling and being in it together. And then recognize that a complaint is okay as long as it's focused on a specific behavior. Now, if your partner's being critical, this is a little bit harder because you're the one doing the work right now. You're the one watching this video. So when your partner's being critical, the first thing you need to do is look past what's being said in a critical way and ask yourself, what are they feeling right now? They're annoyed. What's going on? Why are they annoyed? What's the underlying emotion, the deeper emotion that they could be feeling? Oh, are they overwhelmed? Are they sad? Are they feeling let down? Are they feeling disappointed? Oh, are they feeling unimportant? You didn't put the laundry away and they're feeling unimportant because they asked you to do something for them. When you can ask yourself, okay, they're being critical right now. It hurts to hear, but I'm curious about what they're feeling. It will help you actually disarm the critical nature. You need to learn to set boundaries. What that means is if they're critical, what are you going to do? If they're attacking, like, God, you're being so lazy, you say, hey, you're being critical. I'm going to disengage from this conversation until you can talk to me about what you actually need. Or we're going to be able to call it out. In my relationship, we have this code word, a healthy boundary. I tend to get loud and excited in arguments sometimes, or I'm passionate about something. And we just have this thing of like, whoa, bring the tone down a second. bring the tone down a second. And that helps me kind of bring it down. That's a healthy boundary for our relationship. So we'll have to figure out what is a boundary for you. And then if you can get curious about like, what is it that you need from me right now? If you ask questions and respond to that, someone being critical by asking questions and not finding yourself being defensive, that helps soften the person who's being critical. Now, the thing is, criticism is just the first of the 4 horsemen of the relationship apocalypse. And if criticism exists, the other ones come in super quick thereafter and actually overlap with some of the things that we talked about today. So if you'd like to see the next video on the 4 horsemen of the relationship apocalypse to learn to have better communication, click the top video. And if you'd like to see another video that's from us, go and click the bottom video. With that, I will see you guys next time.